Good evening, everyone. If you don't know, you should know. My name is Rameez Caan, and I am a filmmaker and a film critic. And today I ran into a little bit of a roadblock, as I was unable to go see a movie in the theaters because I'm broke. So I decided to stay at home and put on Netflix and decided to rewatch the origin story of one of my favorite filmmakers, Michael Mann. If there were any superheroes in the filmmaking world, Michael Mann would have to be one of them. His second name is Mann, for God's sakes. He directed this film in 1981 at the age of 37. This was his very first film at the age of 37. Aspiring filmmakers, do not lose hope. We're all climbing the ladders at different speeds. If you are a fan of robbery films, this is by far one of the best ones ever. This film is a direct inspiration to so many films and video games being made in the world today, including Michael Mann's own work. He has mimicked this film over and over and over. The look of this film, the sound of this film, and even the feel of this film has been replicated to match certain stories being put out today. Two great examples would have to be GTA 5, the mega blockbuster video game franchise, and the second example I'm giving is Drive. Both of those stories are very similar to Thief in terms of how it's made. In this film, James Caan, who is a candidate of one of the most coolest people living on the planet Earth, plays a safecracker, a professional safecracker named Frank.
Wait a minute, I want to hear this.
He is determined to finance his dream of retiring, so he takes on a job from a very shady person who guarantees him an $830,000 payday, more than enough to live out his life in happiness and watching daytime TV. We've seen this character millions of times before. The man who comes back to do one last mission, the robber who comes back to do one last big job, the sheriff who's living his last day. But what we have not seen are the characteristics of James Caan's Frank.
I am self-employed. I am doing fine. I don't deal with egos. I am Joe, the boss of my own body. So what the fuck do I have to work for you for? Wait, if it's a matter of, here. What is that? That is the flawless 3.2 carats emerald cut.
This is not a marketplace.
Right. You're not smart enough to take this any more than you are to recognize good parents.
The only way for me to describe Frank's character is this. He plays a very cool hothead, a very crazy dichotomy over there. He likes to be alone, and he knows that his job requires him to live and be alone. But deep down inside, he knows that he needs someone by his side. And all of that is evident in this scene. When Frank, upon meeting Jessie, played by Tuesday Weld, he confesses his love and his past to her in this exquisitely written scene.
Who's the old man here?
That is David Oakler Burton. He's a master thief, a master, and a great man. He was like a father. He taught me everything that I know about what I do, and I told him about you.
Also, a fun fact about this scene, James Caan says that this is his favorite scene in all of his career. Michael Mann is known for making two people talking so seductive, and he has proven it time and time and time again. Michael Mann's signature has definitely helped him, and that signature had begun from this film, Thief. The traits and techniques he used in this film became a signature towards his future films. They can be seen in every single film of his. First of all, we have the no-nonsense, extremely driven character. This character also lives a secret life and acts oblivious to his other life. The moody cinematography. Michael Mann's films have this distinct tone to them, especially when a scene takes place at night. These scenes portray danger so well. You know something's about to go down. The unique electronic music. The score of Thief was so ahead of its time that it was nominated for a Razzie when the film came out. And today, that same score by the same artists, Tangerine Dream, a German band, scored many of the tracks of GTA 5. Also, one thing I notice in Michael Mann's films are that his climaxes are relatively simple, but the build-up to those climaxes is intense. You can see it in Heat, you can see it in Collateral, and you can see it in Black Hat. There's an insanely long time to the build-up. I would say about 3 to 5 minutes until the antagonist gets what's coming to him. There's more build-up than there's actual action, but credit to Michael Mann and his editors, it never gets boring. And finally, the realism. Michael Mann is known for his meticulous attention to detail. That very first scene, the opening scene in Thief, James Caan is actually cracking open a safe. And he got it done on the first try.
I felt like I just graduated, Harvard or something, it was great. So yeah, that was one of my proudest moments. I called my mother and she said, "That's my boy."
Michael Mann is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. I remember being enthralled when I saw Heat for the first time. I feel every time I watch a Michael Mann movie, I end up learning something about the subject he's trying to tackle, and that is something I can appreciate, learning something from a film. Thief is available streaming on Netflix, and I believe you can buy it on YouTube also. Watch this film if you're a fan of crime films. Watch this film if you are a fan of James Caan. This is his best performance of all time. Watch this film if you want to hear some cool music, and finally, watch this film if you want to have a lot of fun. For the people who have seen Thief, what do you think about this movie? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's underrated? Do you think it's overrated? Do you think people talk about it enough? Let me know in the comments below. And then, also, let me know what movies you think are underrated. And then finally, people, hit the subscribe button. I would really like that. I'm making a bunch of new content, which I believe you'll like. I'm making a 2-part series about the Oscars, which I would like to share with more people. So hit the subscribe button. It's just a click. What's it gonna hurt you, huh? And finally, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again next week.